will all remember. Were you there? What did you do? I think you know that I am there for you.
Tom Cruise, a guy, a dream, a religion, Scientologist.
He's
How
a
are you?
Scientologist. That's fundamentally how he described himself. I'm well. I'm a little bit tired.
I'm a little bit weirded out from that introduction into your segment, but I feel positive about it.
But that's what it is. It's so weird, and that feeling that you get from looking at that, going, what? What are you? Why? What are you talking about? Who are you talking to? Why does it feel like there's a stadium of people listening to you? That feeling, that perverse sense of sort of awkwardness and slight fear, is really what surrounds Scientology.
Okay.
Like, I'm actually slightly afraid to talk about it publicly.
Really?
In any way.
Unless they get you.
Yeah.
What are they going to do, though?
Well, I would
Just get
become,
you.
if I was negative about it,
Yeah.
in whatever sense, or if I was a significant threat, so revealed too much, which I'm totally going to do, then I would become what they call fair game. But I feel like we'll get to that shortly. So
Yeah, please.
maybe I want to start at the beginning, like by introducing this book. So this is the book, which has just come out recently, called Inside Scientology, and it's the story of America's most secretive religion. Now, it's called America's Most Secretive Religion because it's actually only a religion in a few places. America is one of them. I think it's a religion in Australia. In Israel, it's not a religion.
Is it a religion
in Britain,
in New Zealand?
I don't know, actually. In
We
Britain,
don't
it's
know.
not. Nah. No, or yes, either, you choose. In Britain, it's not a religion.
Don't tread any toes, do you?
So it's basically, it was created by, so Scientology is created by L. Ron Hubbard, Lafayette Ron Hubbard. And it was in the 50s, so he came up with it in the 50s, and it was originally a concept that he came up with called Dianetics, and you can buy the book, which has become the sort of the Bible of Scientology. It's called Dianetics, and it's sort of like self-help, basically. It's a series of different practices that you can use to help better your life, to become more successful and more confident, and to help deal with issues.
So it's like Tony Robbins, but like on steroids.
It's like Tony Robbins on acid.
Wow.
Because L. Ron Hubbard was also a sci-fi writer. So the two things have kind of seamlessly meshed. But apparently his practitioners don't find this, you know,
I don't understand how
troubling.
it's happened and is now
How did this
a
happen?
legit, like, religion.
Religion.
Yeah.
Well,
Which it is in
this
New
is
Zealand.
what the book
And
it is in New Zealand.
It is,
Yeah.
right, it's a religion.
How many people, like, partake in it? You don't know stats?
Give me a minute.
So this is what the book's about. It's an inside look, and Janet Rickman, was an embedded journalist in Iraq for a number of years for Rolling Stone. She wrote for Rolling Stone magazine, and she got burnt out. She was exhausted. She was quite under a lot of stress, obviously, and so the magazine were like, we did a different story for you. She did a really interesting story for Rolling Stone on Scientology. She took about 6 months to do, and she got taken into the church, because often if the church finds out that you're writing anything that's contrary to what the perspective they want people to have of them, they'll take you on board and they'll thoroughly basically brainwash you, or they'll show you what they want you to see rather than what they think you are seeing.
Right.
So they'll skew your perspective in a lot of ways. And so she did that, and then they were like, hold on, this is an amazing article, it could be an amazing book, and you've clearly got to weigh in because, as it says in the title, they're a really secretive sect. They don't want people knowing what goes on.
Yeah.
A big part of that is because it's, like, for the reason it's a religion in some countries is that it's tax exempt. So it's not actually a religion in any sense. It's basically like a collection of self-help tools. But L. Ron Hubbard didn't want to pay the man for money. So he wanted to make it into a religion, because if you're a religion, then you're tax exempt. And so they got given tax exemption like in the 60s. And then the IRS pulled it and were like, no, you're clearly making a profit from this.
Yeah.
But so they just refused to pay tax for like the next 30 years. And David Miscavige, who's now the new leader of the church after L. Ron Hubbard died, did this. Why is your face looking
I'm
so
just
downhearted?
I don't know. It's like really liking what you're saying.
It doesn't look
it's
like
it's
it.
just funny to hear the story of Scientology.
So he led this huge campaign against the IRS. And what they do, which is fair game, so we're back on topic, is
Right.
that basically if anyone's going against the church, they have this concept that they said hasn't been operating for years, but it appears to still be operating, and L. Ron Hubbard came up with it, which is called fair game, and you can basically destroy people. And the way they do that is through... Yes, right. So the way they do that is through lawsuits. What they do is they mire people in litigation so that they cannot pay their way out of something. The Church of Scientology is extremely wealthy. It has a huge amount of money at its disposal because it doesn't pay any tax.
Oh, yeah.
It sounds...
Sells lots of books, makes lots of profit,
Sells
doesn't pay
books,
tax.
and what it does is it sells the courses. So this is a religion that comes in stages, and the goal is to move up the bridge, to become clear. And the controversy around the South Park thing was that when you get to like the 4th or the 3rd level of this, you have to pay each time you go up, and you do all these courses, and you get audited, which is you get asked a whole lot of questions, and you really go deeply inside yourself, which sounds quite psychoanalytical, which is ironic because they hate psychologists. In fact, they think that psychiatry is behind the Holocaust, but that's a totally different story. And so you go up and up and up these levels, and every time you have to pay more and more money. It's like between 1 and 10 grand. You know, sort of the higher levels cost a huge amount of money, and people pay these extraordinary sums of money. So they get all this cash, basically. And the 4th tier, 3rd or 4th tier, gets revealed to you that it was Xenu who created us. And what we are is like, what is it? We're Thetans, which is like this warlord Xenu came to Earth to dump a whole lot of souls or bodies in the volcanoes of Earth, and the volcanoes erupted, killing the bodies, leaving the souls, and the souls attached to us.
This is the part on South Park where they had to put a little banner saying, no, seriously, this is
real.
what they believe.
Yeah, they did an illustrated like version of it, which is, you can check it out on YouTube, it's great. And there's a bit in the book where it talks about this because obviously like a lot of people buy into this, and before the internet they had no idea that when they got to stage 4 they were told that, by the way, Xenu, Thetans, some space aliens. Yeah, and apparently Tom Cruise, when he got to that stage, took a bit of a break after proselytizing on it for so long beforehand. When he finally he was like, this is amazing, everyone should be a Scientologist, and then he was like, ooh, hold on.
What? So when he's like giving those speeches and stuff, is that
before level 4?
No, I think that's post. David Miscavige, who's the leader of the church, really went in and tried to get him back, get his loyalty back, because he felt that having a celebrity following was really the way forward for this church. So they got him back on board. Kind of smoothed the Xenu path.
Yeah, it sounds like opinion leaders, tax evasion, and
aliens,
and also just like lawsuits, man, just ripping, financially crushing people.
Financially crushing, and they destroy credibility. So particularly with psychiatrists, they have like a whole sect of their religion, like people working day and night whose job it is to discredit practicing psychiatrists. They maintain that basically, like, children brought up in the church are taught that psychiatrists will rape you, will take advantage of you at every turn, who will probably kill you through malpractice, that psychiatry isn't real. It's amazing. And, I mean, she does a really good job of kind of going, well, look, this is what people believe, and these are the further end of things. But some aspects of the self-help are quite... I'm saying this now because I'm afraid I'm going to get, like, killed.
No, please. I will protect you.
Thanks. Some aspects of this really, really work for people, and you can kind of see it. Like, if you stay out of being in the church, if you just follow the practices, and you pay a lot of money and audit yourself. Basically, it's just asking yourself fundamentally insightful questions to help push through blocks that you have.
It's a great idea.
Just do that.
That part's nice.
That's really...
Yeah, it's got pluses, but it's also got extreme negatives.
Yeah.
So, Scientology.
Dollar little bills.
All right, let's play a music video, come back and talk more Scientology.
Okay,
Strange
my
Talk.
favourite topic.
Strange Talk. This is a wonderful track from them called Climbing Walls. Having a mare over there,
Bit of a shocker.
throb.
Bit of a shocker. It's all the Scientology, man. It's freaking me out.
Frazzled.
I've gone all frazzled now. Climbing Walls, there was Strange Talk. And hey Lily, I've got something to share with you that has to do with words. In Sunday Herald, Tim Lambourne was in there, and apparently he's New Zealand's new heartthrob.
How's that got to do with words?
Because it was written by Rachel Glissina.
It was written down. Did Rachel Glissina decide that he was New Zealand's new heartthrob?
Sure. There you go.
Don't show me now while people are watching. Do you agree?
Yeah. I do.
Jealous.
No, I agree.
Is that why you look at me like that?
Yeah.
Smile. The big eyes.
That big puppy dog.
Yeah, he's the
Puppy
best.
dog grin.
Anyway, right now...
Just before we get on, James Anderson of Two Heads Television Company just posted a YouTube video called Scientology and Me, which is a BBC documentary about it on our wall. We can't bring it up, but what's the BBC connection?
This guy, they're notoriously difficult to infiltrate Scientology, and this guy from the BBC went in and did this sort of expose piece on it. And he got so frustrated by them, like they successfully marginalised him and boxed him in and used their kind of like mind tool techniques. And he got so frustrated. There's this beautiful scene where he goes completely off his head and starts screaming like a child. So he's like, no, 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 like yelling so loud, and then just like storms out of the interview that he's conducting. And you can see that they're pushing his buttons, but what's super interesting about it is that they have both sides filming the whole time. So the BBC will be filming the Scientologists, and the Scientologists are filming the BBC. So he's under this extreme pressure. There's always like several cameras. And I went online to try and find the segment because I vaguely remembered it and I wanted to refresh myself. And I couldn't find the segment anywhere, but I found something that looked vaguely like it, and it had the same footage, and so I started looking at it. And it's like this brainwashing piece of media that the Scientologists made from the same footage that they filmed at the same time, but it's an anti-BBC campaign. And they have a whole arm of their church that's charged with making media that's propaganda that pulls apart anything that stands to discredit Scientology. It's amazing. And it took us like a couple of minutes. I was like, oh, is this actually,
It's
oh
that
my
good.
God.
As far as propaganda goes?
Yeah, I was like, oh, what, is something happening to me? Am I thinking that the BBC is an illegitimate media outlet? Oh my God, I am. I was like, hold on, this isn't right. And then after a while, but it was better quality than the BBC. The voiceover was great, and it was amazing.
Well, that's because they've got extremely awesome actors to do that kind of thing.
And they've got a huge amount of funds.
They're probably like copying this right now through some sort of means of the internet, and they're going to cut it.
TVNZU is a horrible organisation.
That's what's
according
going
to
back.
Scientology.
Yeah, and they'll dig up any dirt that they have on us. So you know, like you didn't attend a friend's birthday party, or you know, like.
So can you get that Unity Books in Auckland and Wellington?
Yeah, it's a hardcover at the moment.
Fascinating read.
It's so interesting. There's so much, if you can believe it, I know I've just talked my mouth off, but there's so much more in here than what I've even begun to talk about. And I literally just couldn't put it down. I was obsessed with it from the moment I picked it up. It's as terrifying as it is fascinating. Hardback, because it's brand new. We've got a couple at Unity Books, and I'm anticipating they're going to go quite quickly. It's not too badly priced. You can get it elsewhere, but we probably go on the independent.
But why would you go elsewhere when you've got the wonderful Unity Books?
And if she writes for Rolling Stone as well, magazine journalists make amazing authors because they make it very clear and concise.
Yeah, that's
They're really,
a really
really
good point.
authors.
I read an interview with her where she said she removed all personal opinion from the text. So she did a really good job of being as kind of, straight and narrow and non-judgmental as possible. It's just a tricky topic to be that way on.
Inside Scientology, this week's book review. Lily, thank you for coming in. It's a pleasure. That was amazing, and I feel enlightened, informed, and also a little bit
do you feel a bit weird?
Scared.
Weird,
Yeah,
a weird.
Weird feeling,
Yeah,
right?
it's
It's like
just
you've just
strange.
kind of knocked a hornet's nest.
Yeah.
Guys, we're all going to get stung.
And hopefully we can still do the show tomorrow, and we're still on
if
air.
none of us are here.
Yeah. Right. Anyway, we'll have a quick break, and when we come back, we'll start wrapping up the show.